Ben?
You just always ask him, like, what do you see? What do you think? Like, how you feeling? What did you think of the game? We talk all the time. And I always try to, like, give him something that is a a pointed question, not something that's, holistic. It's very specific. And, like, what do you think? And it's interesting listening to him. He's got a very, I think, clear way of, what he thinks, which is good. There's a strength there. But it's always that type of stuff.
From a basketball IQ or willingness to learn, would you put him and Embiid in a similar category of trying to absorb information, or different?
Different. I respect the strength that they carry themselves with in regards to how they feel like things should happen. I respect that. I also respect the fact that they completely buy in to me saying, I don't see it that way at all. I think this for these reasons. And, like, they step back and they're coachable. They let me coach them, and I have to. But that's, as trite as that may sound, that's not a common thing sometimes with young superstars or young people that have had a hell of a lot of attention. And so I really enjoy those two. Jaleel's no different. Actually, my whole group, it's just, I think with those two, they do accept things and think about things differently, but that is the common denominator.
When you look at Ben's coachability, how is it similar or different than what it was like with his dad when you were in the same situation with him?
Same thing. It's funny he gets a heck of a question because his dad was a strong-willed man. He's Harlem, New York City. He could have been a tight end. He could have been, he was more of a physical, presence than he was this, like, gifted, fluid basketball player. He wasn't that. And he was just a New York City hard competitor to me when he was over there 30 whatever years ago in the late 80s. And Ben has got his dad's, like, sort of quiet disposition. He's sort of his background, the way he was raised, the way his DNA is that. He goes about things sort of not in a bravado, in-your-face way. But there is I don't know, there's a tough side, there's a competitive side that I can't wait to coach.
Just even going back to, like, when we had a chance to interact with him after the draft over the summer, he seems very even-keeled and businesslike. Has he had any waves, ups and downs the last 2 months, or has he been, very steady throughout the
Ben,
rehab? Yeah.
he's steady. Like, he's been well raised. His background with his mom and dad is A+. I think that the agency with Rich Paul, grooming him with Rich's experience with LeBron is really strong. And think about that, what I just said. Like, there's a lot to learn. And, I just feel like the package, the people around him are gifted, good people, and have an experience to back all that up. He's been steady, nice and steady.
Did you watch the documentary out of curiosity?
I have not.
Just we'll visit this once again. So you start the two bigs last night. The ball movement wasn't as good as it's been when they were like how much of that goes directly to Ersan? To me, it just seems like it's contagious. The ball moves so well when he's on the floor, and I think your other players feed off of that. So, is there any thought in your head that you would throw him in there with the two bigs also? Could he go
It's
down to
funny,
three?
yeah. It's like it's all on the table, isn't it? He tells me that he can.
So it's been brought up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're at a stage where it's all on the table. It's all on the table. Why not? Why not? And so I think for different reasons, yeah, I think he does have the ability to do that. Like, he has played that. When he first came into the league, he wasn't always a stretch four. Like, he has been a three-man. So it's not out of his wheelhouse. It's like you could, sort of the same way I'm looking at Dario, you could look at Ersan like that too. The thing that you're saying that is true, but it's not the answer, our 4 and 5 men in our structure are quarterbacks. They get the ball a lot. And so those floor spots, those positions are important. If you had Ersan over at a 3, although he is a willing passer, he's not quarterback in the gym from those floor spots. It's very much driven by quick decisions at our 4 and 5 positions. And when the ball sticks and it's a little bit slower and in trail, like we're not really as sure as we are when Earson's got it, Dario has it, you'll notice that floor spot being the thing that unlocks when we really get moving. And so I see it that position more than that player. And so we are right now with Jaleel and Joel and Nerlens and Rashawn, reminding them always the importance of that position to move the ball. It can't stick.
The day after, would you agree, Ja benefited most? Joel, Dario, and Ersan were slightly, if not more, negatively affected by what
I
you
think
did.
that's a fair comment. I think that's a fair comment. And so when you say, well, why? Now that you sort of admit that, and it's not dramatic, but it is true. Yeah, I think it's true that you say, well, now why? And there are answers all over the place. And I've spoken with those three all this morning. You know, you sit down and you go through it. What did you feel? What did you think? This is what we see on tape. And trying to just continue to grow and make it better. As we all admitted at the start, it's going to take time. And then you're going to have Nerlens tomorrow night. And we expect to have Nerlens tomorrow night. You know, maybe we don't, but at some point soon we will. And then the conversation goes to another place. But that's life in our land right now, and I hope that we all, led by me, find it an exciting opportunity. It comes with, you know, a level of pain because you're not as fluid as you used to be, and you're going back to, you know, teaching and training and trying to find camaraderie on the court. But that's just where we're at. I don't know any other way to say it.
Can I ask you, would you, after looking at it, put Joe in the low post a little bit more than he was yesterday when he's on the court with Ja? Like, I get that that's Jaleel's strength, but you know what I'm saying?
I think you can if you want to, like, yes is the short answer. If I were to give you the long answer, he can get himself on the block. You know, if you run, you can run to a block. And so that's part of it. It's my challenge to, like, when he hasn't been there for a while or the game is slow, you know, we can call play after play after play until we're blue in the face, and we can do that. And I do need to do that more. But I like also going back to our guys and saying, run the floor. Quick post, quick touch, quick catch when the defense can't get set. And so when you look at our world like I do, there's a delineation of what do we do after when somebody makes it, and what do we do after somebody misses it. And it's jailbreak after misses. It's just taking off. And so in that environment, I think he can post himself.
Last night after the game, Joe said that he didn't trust the process. He said he wasn't active.
Referring to himself?
Yeah.
That is so funny.
But he said that he wasn't active and he wasn't moving as much. What did you see in terms of his movement, and how would you like him to improve that?
And, you know, his world was changed for a moment, and so I can see why he wouldn't trust the process. He was in a different land for a large portion of the game. I do think when you look at the actual minutes that he and Jaleel played, that you can see how there's still opportunity where he will be the 5-man, and like tomorrow night, if they go with Mozgov and Randall, we're going to do it again. You know, I think that we can match up big, and I intend to do that every time that we can do that. I just think through familiarity of our floor spots and how he finds ways to get himself engaged and control his own destiny and still impact the game, you know, I think that's going to come in a very natural way. Like even last night, you saw him at that top of the key spot, you know, up fake and make a guard's move and have a little dish off to Jaleel at the low zone. Like that's an elite move at 7'2". So I just think time is the probably single word that we all need to have with it all.
How was Tim handled the whole moving?
How was what?
How was Tim handled the whole Delaware to Sixers back and forth? And also, have you noticed his experience down there affect his confidence at this level?
He is an A-plus worker. He really loves basketball. He really loves basketball. I come in this building all the time, and you hear tom-toms in the gym, and like, who is Timmy Luau? You see him in a weight room, like he's rated one of the best workers in a weight room. And so he loves basketball, and he loves playing and working and so on. And so the transition to Delaware, coming back up here, no problem. You know, go ahead. He wants to play. You know, there are times that we may have to look at some of our guys, like if all of a sudden you get a plethora of bigs and all bigs are equal, you know, I don't want to look down there and see Rashawn sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And so Timmy, as an example, has handled it like a pro. He's very mature about it, and I think it's born out of the fact that he loves playing basketball.
Brett, one thing that's very obvious with Dario is that when he doesn't think he plays well, he is very hard on himself.
Yeah.
What have you seen from that? And then as a coach, how do you, especially with a rookie in a new league, keep him staying positive and looking forward?
You're right, because it's a double-edged thing. It's a curse and it's a gift. He is so prideful, and sometimes when he doesn't perform up to his own expectations, you know, you can drown yourself in your own criticism. And trying to really coach him on, he's been like this his whole career. Trying to coach him like Ginobili was like that. You have to play the next play. You know, you really have to let something go and move on. You can't be so excited you forget the next play. It's trying to find an even way you see the world and play the next play. And I think just that generic type of kind of obvious answer is the messaging that I end up sharing with him. I think when you show tape of either it isn't so bad, like you may think so, you know, not letting distractions creep into your world with referees or somebody might have missed you, you know, like when you were open. And so he wears his heart in his sleeve. You can see his emotions. You feel his pain, you know, like when you just sort of see his body language and his facial expressions. And I think some of that is who he is, and some of it's on him and me to try to polish up.